It's kind of weird. Maybe not. Just finished week 14. 28 days we've mapped. Almost done. One more week left. We talked about, most of this is from the last chapter in the Cisco curriculum. Talk about different methods of testing networks. We added a couple things we discussed. People can get complacent. They think, network's up, working, and you do a really good job of setting up a network, run for a long time. Sometime though you need to go back in, check configs, make sure there's some security issues you haven't figured in, and even if you documented a network really well at the beginning, some people forget to update, or they find it hard to take care of updating the network. You can always check performance, look at your baseline and benchmarks and see, are things changing, and why are they? Such a fluid, would that be the right word? The way business functions, you might actually discover that somebody's using the network resources inappropriately within your company. Return on investment, cost benefit. People look at other ways, for example, maybe using AWS, different options in the cloud to do their work. There are all kinds of tools for you to manage your network, to test it, to scan it, to keep track of how things are working. Good benchmarks give you a reference point so that you can make comparisons. You try to tell somebody, I need more bandwidth, they'll ask you, well, how do you know that? or if we buy this expensive equipment, it's going to increase our performance. Well, how do we know that? How do you prove? And you got to think about it. Should we do this? When I first got involved with networking, and there were a lot of cases where people invested highly into their network infrastructure, way beyond what they needed, thinking, well, maybe this will be good down the road, and then down the road there's better technology. So, that's been around forever. So you got to be careful. You got to understand what you're doing. Security, the audience, who's their security policy affect? Governance, there's the difference. All businesses have some form of governance in how they operate and how they function. Then we have the technical end. What kind of platforms do you run? And are your services all in-house? Is some of it out-house? Do you some kind of out-house? That sounds funny. Out to the cloud. What are your end users? In terms of all of these different policy things need to be aware of. You really can't make some decisions if you don't have some policy to guide you. Oh, and then guide you. Guidelines. Guidelines are more like suggested policies, things you ought to do. Sometimes you can just have some really good guidelines and work in an environment where your employees are valued employees and you can trust them. And as soon as you can't trust people, you create more policies, which end up then becoming more like just rules, and then you have to manage the people who abuse the rules, and more rules, the more to manage, kind of down the rabbit hole. Checklist. I gave my 2 cents worth here, how important it is if you have certain procedures. And companies should have procedure manuals. You have certain procedures that you need to do all the time at certain points, even if it's just reevaluating your network. Maybe some tedious things, and then you find out, you discover some things. Because all these things have a life cycle, We did this with security, now we have to do this, and now we have to do this and this. So probably the key thing, and they have a whole course named that, it's good to get some type of foundation underneath you, and then you can research and move forward to see what's the next best thing, like these next generation firewalls. This is Palo Alto uses Wildfire in the cloud for a lot of their like zero trust. And these new generation firewalls, they match up user ID with app ID, content ID, in order to see which traffic and how they should handle traffic, and then being able to classify traffic. Okay, roles. Talked about roles. We can have security, can be security and permissions and so forth can be wrapped up in the roles, and then we can put users would have a certain role and groups, and you can manage it that way. You see that happening all the time in terms of firewalls or even in the cloud at AWS. I talked a little bit about security issues. So let's say you got a website in the cloud in which all kinds of people, employees, partners, customers, all access that website. The website accesses a database to get certain information inside the cloud and spread out over all these different servers on VMs. And if the website's not well designed and it gets compromised, then do you have good security moving east and west inside your data center? More on that a little bit next week. We'll touch upon it. So then we finished up talking a little bit about the Palo Alto, the Essentials class. You know what? I'm going to write that on here. Palo Alto Networks, the Essentials. Okay, there's 6 chapters, and we want to work on the first 2 by Tuesday. If that makes any sense. First chapter's on design, and then the next chapter goes into networks, applications, different areas of security. It talks a little bit more detail here. The labs, there was a part, I believe it was in lab 4, where they looked at Facebook, looked at Google, and you could see all the different possibilities of how you control traffic just using those 2 as a reference. Here, I believe this is the lab where you are monitoring what traffic from the inside going out in your next generation firewall. A couple things in the labs. Make sure there might be times you have to click again. You know, they'll say click on something, and then they'll say click OK. Well, don't panic, just click it again because it's not highlighted. Or you click on something and then you need to click out an empty space to make that selection take hold, and then it allows you to move on. So you want to hopefully avoid some problems as you're going through the labs. Last thing, for what it's worth, I opened up the Palo Alto documentation for their OS 9, and the table of contents was 16 pages, and there were it was just under, I forget, it's 2,000 something. It was over 2,500 pages, somewhere between 2,500 and 2,700 pages of documentation. And if you glance through, I glanced through the table of contents. I didn't go through the whole document, but that's really interesting to glance through because there are so many terms in there. There's a few you wouldn't know, but most of the terms in there, we've covered those topics in general, so then you could dig in deeper and see how the documentation tells you to configure certain things. That's it for today. One more week. Stay safe out there.